Okay, so this is just a 9" by 6" pattern, a rectangle. And I just lay this down on the fabric and use my cutter here. I cut out 2 of these and 1 in interfacing. And then I iron the interfacing on and pin the right sides together. A nice little trick is that you actually put the head of the pin away from the seam so it's easier for the machine to go over. And when you sew it, you're actually going to use a 6" strip of elastic. I know that they say 7 on a lot of the patterns, and for a large man or somebody with a large head that works, but I found the 6" works a lot better. And when you sew it, you're going to put it in like this at an angle on the corner here, on the diagonal, and then you're going to sew back and forth a few times over it, right? And then when you come down to the second corner, you unpin and you'll reach inside and just make sure that the elastic is flat, that it's not twisted, and you'll pull this so that it's in this corner, and then you'll do the same thing. You'll put the fabric back down and you'll sew a few times this way and a few times this way, and you'll keep going. You leave about a 2" bit here at the top so that you can turn it inside out. And here is one that's ready to be turned inside out. And you can see I've got the little piece here that's open. So you can see, I mean, I don't even really have very neat edges. I use about, that looks like about a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. It doesn't have to be perfect. I use a chopstick to help me get the corners pushed out when I turn it the other way. So here's what it looks like before you put the pleats in. And you can see that the elastics are in here at a little bit of an angle, which makes it nice. You press the open part down so that you just sew over it when you top stitch around. And then you go through maybe an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. You go around the whole thing twice. Okay, and I'm a perfectionist, so I then like to press it, and I like to pin and press the pleats in place. And I've just been using 2 pleats. So you can see I've got one that's a little bit bigger and one that's a little bit smaller. And that's so when you open it out, you've got a slightly bigger bit for the nose and you've got a smaller bit for the chin. But again, it doesn't even really matter. This actually looks quite narrow and small until you put it on. All right, so let me think. Have I forgotten anything? I like to pin these and press them in place. And just like what I showed you before, the trick with the pinning, if you actually pin it when you're pinning your pleat in place, if you pin it with the head of the pin facing in, then it's less bulk for you to go over. And you can see also the edge. I come in quite a bit further when I'm going over the pleats just because it's easier to do it that way. Your machine has a hard time getting over all of this thickness here. So I just pull it in a little bit and then double stitch, a stitch around it again, although it looks like I may have forgotten to do the stitch around twice on this one. So let me know if you have any questions, and I hope I covered everything. All right, good luck.